Hello, everybody. Last year in July, so July of 2023, I was playing an old game, a 1990 game called The Savage Empire by Ultima, and I thought to myself, you know what? I should check out the speed runs, see what the best time in the world is. And I did some research and found that the fastest time to beat the game was 15 minutes. And I was like, that is extremely impressive, but I bet I could beat it. After watching, seeing what they did, I told myself, I can absolutely beat that. And so I tried it and discovered I could not. Because my old work computer just lagged out so bad when I was trying to run that the whole thing slowed down. And so what I wound up doing was comparing the time it took in-game to beat the game. And so for most people, they would take it in about 10 days to beat the game. And I discovered that when I went through, as soon as we click through this little bit here, that I could beat the game in just 2 days. And that was 5 times faster than the speed record I had previously seen before. So yesterday, last week, I decided to contact the page that had the fastest speed and let them know, like, hey, you beat me by a good 10, 15 minutes, but in game, I got you by 5 times your record, right? I got 2 days instead of your 10, and I figured that would be the end of it. Well, within a few hours, the owner of the webpage, Danny, emailed me back to let me know they were going to put my record on their official website. The website's been going for 22 years, deals with all the Ultima games, and they uploaded mine and congratulated me that while I didn't set a record in real world time, I did in 2 in-game days by skipping the Kotal City, the final real city where there's a bunch of advanced technology that helps you beat the game itself. And so last night I went, you know what? Now that I'm kind of inspired to play again, I bet with my new top-of-the-line Alienware computer, I can beat both his time in real-world time and my time of 2 days. Half of that turned out to be true. So this is a pre-recorded. Just like my first run, it took about half an hour to get through the game, because it turns out it was not my old computer that was the problem. The problem is DosBox itself, the emulator I use to play old retro-ish DOS-based games. And so the DosBox emulator lags out when I get to the final caves, the final challenge of the game. But this run does beat even my fastest in-game time. And so I thought I'd upload it. I'm going to contact the Dino's webpage again as soon as this is done recording and uploads into YouTube. But the premise of this game is that you are an adventurer who is visiting your friend, a professor, and there's an accident in his lab that sends his entire lab, this thing I'm standing in right now, into a world where there are civilizations from a bunch of different time periods all living in one valley. And there's this whole question of, like, why is everybody here? How did it end up this way? And when you're playing the actual game, not trying to just speed run through it, you get answers to a lot of these mysteries as to how this whole thing came about. But what I'm doing for this run is I'm skipping everything, which you do for a speed run. But I'm skipping the final city. I'm only getting 2 people to follow me the whole way through. And I do improve on my previous speed run in that nobody dies this time, where last time I let somebody die. And in the official speedrun, the 15-minute one done by the creator or the owner of Dino's Ultima page, they kill off 2 of their characters for the sake of speed. and even let themselves die once just to teleport back home. So if it comes to 0 deaths, I might have the fastest time run. I'm not sure if that actually counts. But my question for like speedrunning communities in general, am I allowed to up the performance of DosBox in order to avoid the lag that I come at the end? Or am I just supposed to, for an official speedrun, just deal with what I'm given here with the normal settings of DosBox? Because that might actually make a big difference. If all I can do is the regular specs for DosBox itself, this is about as fast as I am going to get it. If I'm able to up the performance of DosBox itself, I may come back and try to do a regular actual speedrun. Either way, in my own personal time, I'm going to play this game probably until I die. I love this game. There's a lot involved in it, even though it looks very simplistic. But either way, I'm going to pop in and out as we go through this, because again, this is a pre-recording. There's one point where my daughter comes in with her mouth hurting and is asking for medicine, so I stop moving for a good 10-15 seconds while I'm helping her. But overall, if you ignore those things, this is pretty much as fast as it can be done, and I know for sure I can't be beaten when it comes to the actual in-game time. Because here we are, it's before midnight on the very first day, even this merchant hasn't gone to bed yet, and I have my second character, or I guess third character since you start with one. I'm putting on the best armor of the game, short of the stuff you can find in the Ancient City. I'm not going to, and here in just a few minutes, if that long, this professor here, Rafkin, he's going to be getting a modern rifle as well. And the thing is, there are only 3 characters in the game out of, I think, 9, don't quote me on that, that can use modern weapons. Your main character and 2 people that you can recruit along the way who are from the modern world. Nope, 3. There's one guy I never use, I always forget about him. But the 2 that you can get quickly, one of them is harder to get than the other, and so I never go get him. But what I'm doing now is I am running to an abandoned city that has a really easy entrance into the caves. And the caves are controlled by Mormodeks, these giant ant-like humanoid creatures who have been causing problems for the entire valley. So the goal of the game, ultimately, is to go into these caves with a united tribe and defeat the Mormodek's queen and destroy the black stone that she controls, which is part of what causes all of the issues in the world itself. It's what brought all these tribes together. But since I'm just doing the speed run, I'm just finding the closest entrance I can by going to this abandoned city that requires throwing a grenade over a ravine. And because in that abandoned city, there is a second modern rifle. And so I equip 2 of my characters with modern rifles, and have my third character, the guy in red, there as my healer and light producer. And from there, I just run through as fast as I can to get to the queen to kill her. And there's a bunch of waves of these Mormodeks, and that is what slows down my computer. Just DosBox hates it. But one of the big advantages here is that we have 12 grenades that we can pick up, equip the gun, that really help clear the caves as we go. We've got a bunch of bullets right here, and arrows, because the guy in red can only use bow and arrow. Well, they can use any other weapon except modern weapons, but it just makes this a lot simpler. So we're almost to the point where we're going into the caves now already. Rafkin's got his bullets, about to get the rifle here in this house, and then we start facing everything. So we're at what? If that sun represents morning, 6 o'clock in the morning of day 2. So not even a full day has passed, and here we go. We've got all the weapons, we've got the rope, we've got to do one little fight here. Here's some Mormodeks themselves. And then we just run through. So I'll pop back in here, especially once we start lagging, and to show how it's different. But otherwise, we're 10 minutes into this video, which probably means about 8 minutes into the actual run itself, and we've already got everything we need to enter the caves and beat the game. So the rest of it is all in the caves where things are going kind of slow, just because of DosBox itself. So again, if I can use, or not use, if I can increase the performance of DosBox to get a faster time without that being considered cheating, 100%. I'm coming back to this game. I'm going to do an even faster run, and I will probably get the world record, because I do believe that my way of going through the game is faster than any other. But if DosBox just has to be left at its normal specs, then this is the last speedrun I'll do, and I'll just be content with having the fastest in-game time, I believe, in the world, which is just awesome. So here we go, going to the caves. See it already, like each step is taking a full second or more just to make, and it's not because I'm being hesitant, it's because there's so many characters being loaded right now, even though they can't be seen, that the whole game is just struggling, and not the game itself, DosBox is just struggling, because we've got this huge wave right here of more Mormodeks. I'm kind of curious how many of them I kill, because it's a lot. already up to 17 just in this one room. $33 Mormideks in that one wave, and there are at least 3 more waves that I face. No, 4. 3 of them in the last room. Although the second one in the last room is relatively small. And those are just waves, not including like the little fights. So there's a lot of fighting involved in this. Actually, there's so much fighting that at one point I realized that my main character, the Avatar, doesn't even have enough bullets to finish the caves, and I have to transfer some over to him. So there's one more there. That makes 34 in that one room. Just a few fights to make. That was where my daughter was coming to asking for medicine. So that was the 5-10 seconds that took a little extra time. about to head into the final room. We've got like a little bit of hallway left, and then 3 waves of Mormadex before killing off the queen. Looks like about 7 minutes of video itself before talk about it at the end. But we got, like I said before, we've got 3 waves. Just had to transfer some bullets over. I'm about to transfer some bullets over. And I'm going to wind up breaking out the actual grenades here in a minute, because at some point it's just easier to blow everything up. This is it. Entrance to the final room. Wave number 1. It's interesting, the music cut out. It's like I've been in a fight for so long, the game just doesn't have any more battle music to play. It'll come back as soon as I come out of combat here, but it's still kind of amusing. What's really weird is that the lag itself is not, or doesn't affect the sound effects. Like when I was able to do like 1 step every second, I was still able to hear the music. And so it's just the game trying to process the movement while keeping everything else going. Was interesting. But wave 1 is almost done. Still not as bad as that first big room I came into. There's the second wave right up here. Might be a continuation of the first. It's hard to say. Oh, and I will say, this is my second attempt last night. My first attempt, I got all the way through this room. I could see the queen, the one I'm supposed to kill at the end, and the only character I had left alive was the main character. 1 Mormadex left to fight, and got a critical hit and killed me in view of the end of the game. It was almost enough to make me not pick the game back up last night and finish. But I'm really glad I did, because like I said at the very beginning of this winds up beating even my own record, and everybody lives. Got through the whole thing. Got one last little fight to get through here, and for the most part I shoot fast enough that I don't even really have to go into combat mode. I think it does happen right at the last second. Yeah, right there. But for the most part, like, just my main character shooting all of them is enough. So the last few Mormodeks, gotta clean them up a little bit. You can see right in the shadow in the top left is a little pathway. That pathway leads to Queen itself. And so it is basically how many I've killed after the 33 from the one room. Everything after that was just cleanup. I was tempted to use a grenade in this last little section just to blow the queen to pieces, but instead, all of her drones are dead. Walk up, shoot her twice in the face, get behind her, find the stone, thing causing all of the problems, and blow it up with a single bullet. There we go. And so now we get the end little credit stuff. And again, this was not a speed run in real time. But once we get through all this celebration, talking about all the tribes, getting summoned back home, all these people I didn't meet in this run going through the portal to get home, we then get the final score. 1 day. We beat the game last night in 1 in-game day. There, I do not believe, is programming within this game to beat that. I don't think it can get down to just simple hours. So, I think officially, while I don't have the 15-minute speedrun time due to DosBox specs just not letting me do it, I'm 99% positive, the world record for the fastest in-game time. And the only question is, can somebody beat that? And if they can, I think they have to do it using my method, and that is just awesome. So, thanks for taking the time. I know it was a 31-minute video for a very old game, but I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm going to send this off to Dino's Ultima page here in just a minute when it uploads into YouTube. Again, thanks for watching.